It's post time. On behalf of America's Best Racing, I'm Joe Crisafak, and today we're going to string along a sequence of winners. We're going to talk about multi-race wagering, daily doubles, pick threes, pick fours, pick fives, even the pick six, stringing together winners over a sequence of races, which is different than intra-race wagering. We've talked about that in the past. That's Win Play Show, Exacta, Trifecta, and Superfecta. That's betting within a race. Multi-race wagering, stringing winners over a sequence of races. And each multi-race wager has its own separate betting pool. Therefore, the takeout is applied only once. In contrast, if you were to bet a horse or horses to win in individual races, there would be multiple takeouts for each of those win bets in each of those races. So when you're betting a multi-race wager, one takeout, first leg of the series, that gives an advantage to the players. Now, multi-race wagers are inherently more difficult to hit, obviously. Picking one winner is tough enough, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 6 in a sequence, but maybe more difficult, but the risk is definitely worth the reward if you're able to come up with the right horses within the sequence. And personally, for me, picking winners, the lure of that in a sequence of races is much better than trying to figure out who's going to finish second, third, or even fourth in an exacta, trifecta, or superfecta. You only have to find the horse that's going to do their job, and that's to win. Not try to figure out who's going to hold on for second, third, or fourth, or clunk along for second, third, and fourth. There are some lures, obviously, to the intra-race wagers, too. But for me, I like to pick winners. I like to be right. Even if it takes me 7 horses in a race within a sequence to do it, I like to try to find the winning horse. So let's tell you 3 things you need to know about multi-race wagering. And the first is going to be build your tickets based on your bankroll. As always, based on your opinion, go through and handicap the series of races. Eliminate the non-contenders. Take a look at the horses that you think you might want to use. Once you've done that, then you need to eliminate horses based on how much money you want to spend. Obviously, the more horses you use, the more money it's going to cost you. You have to figure out which races are the best to spread in, which races are the best to have a more defined opinion, and figure out how to build your ticket to match your bankroll. Now, having a single within the sequence certainly helps. If you have one horse you really want to hang your hat on, one horse you're confident in, it's going to significantly decrease the amount of the wager, but then you're relying on one horse in a particular race to win. And we all know this is horse racing. Sometimes trips and good and bad luck come into play. So if you're going to single, be confident. Let's take a look at some examples. When you're playing more than one horse in a daily double wager, the minimum bet is usually $1. Let's take a look at a daily double example, a $1 daily double using 2 horses in the first leg and 3 horses in the second leg, 2, 3 with 7, 8, 9. Now, 6 possible winning combinations at $1 each would be a $6 wager. A pick 3 example. Now, pick 3s, sometimes they're $1. A lot of times they're a 50-cent minimum wager when you use multiple horses. Let's take a look at a 50-cent example. 2, 3 with 7, 8, 9 with 1, 7, 8 across 3 races. Now, you have to pick the winner in all of these races. If you miss one and go 2 out of 3, there is no consolation. You can throw your ticket in that receptacle right over there. You have to have all 3. In that scenario, there's 18 possible winning combinations. 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18, divided by 2 for the 50-cent increment, and you're down to a $9 investment. Let's take a look at a pick 5 example using multiple horses. 1, 2 with 1, 7, 8, 9, with 3, 10, with 4, 5, with 1, 7. So you're using 2 horses with 4, with 2, with 2, with 2. That's 64 possible winning combinations. You are going to divide that by 2 for the 50-cent increment, and that's a $32 investment. So again, how many horses you use, how you decide to build your ticket, that is ultimately going to be the deciding factor in how much you spend. Now, building your tickets is important financially, but you also need to know where to spread. What races are the best races to spread in? Consider using multiple horses in turf races, cheap claimers, and races where you think there is a vulnerable favorite. Those are the races where the long shot prices have the best opportunity to come in, and catching just one unlikely winner, a 10 to 1 shot, even an 8 to 1 shot, or obviously a 20 or 30 to 1 shot is going to greatly increase your price. So, deciding what races to spread in, The better races usually are more formful, so the cheaper races, the grass races, because they have big fields, and then if you can identify a vulnerable favorite, those are the races you want to try to use multiple horses. Don't be afraid to take a shot in these multi-race wagers. If you're conservative by nature and you're just going to the racetrack to have fun, like we mentioned before, stay win, place, and shows. Stay with the exactas. If you want to try to turn your gambling into an investment and play the multi-race wagers and take your time and do your homework and really, really strategize a ticket, then don't be afraid to. I'd rather go to the racetrack with $100 and sink 96 of it into a pick 4 or a pick 5 with an opportunity to make $5,000 versus taking that $96 and spreading it out over an entire card and trying to grind out a profit. So again, bet to your personality, wager according to your bankroll. It's very, very frustrating if you're playing multi-race wagers and you're hitting 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, but you have to remember that it only takes one to make up for dozens of losing tickets. So you have to have patience, and you've got to have a little bit of mental fortitude as well. Now, if you're willing to do the homework, you also have to make adjustments based on track condition, based on how the racetrack is playing. So I like to play the pick 4 or the pick 5 late in the card so I can kind of get a feel for what's going on early. This will give me an added advantage when I put my late tickets together in those multi-race wagers. And remember, no matter how you arrive at your opinion, wager based on it. Use multiple horses in races where you don't have a strong opinion. Use less horses in races where you have a stronger opinion. And don't forget, the with button is your friend. Anytime you're constructing a ticket, it's very easy to use on the self-service machine. You can use multiple horses in a race, obviously based on the minimum wager, based on your bankroll, how much you're willing to invest or spend on a particular wager. Remember, it all comes down to risk versus reward. As a late great track announcer and racing personality, Kevin Gomer used to say, bet with your head and not over it. With knowledge always comes horsepower. Live it, love it, play it, share it, and bet on it at americasbestracing.net.